In this video, I'm going to show you how to enter your water report in Brewfather so you can start making better beer. How's it going? My name's Brian. I'd like to welcome you to another video. If this is your first time here and you'd like to learn more about electric brewing, see how-to videos and tutorials just like this one, consider subscribing, and if you do, don't forget to click that bell so you won't miss a video when it comes out. Now, beer is mostly water, so that is one of the reasons why I like to treat my water, actually build my water up from RO water. A lot of people don't have the convenience of doing it or whatever. So the next best thing to do in that, in my opinion, is getting a water report from a company that does water analysis. And the company that I've used in the past is Ward Laboratories. Now, they're not sponsoring this video or anything like that, but I did use them in the past. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that old water report from the previous brewery the place that I lived at where the brewery was, and I'm going to show you how to enter that report into Brewfather. And I'll leave links for Ward Laboratories and everything. All the links will be down in the description, so be sure to check that out. Let's jump into it. All right, so we're going to jump into Brewfather here, and we're going to go back to Profiles again, and we're going to go to Water. And Brewfather actually has a lot of profiles for styles in the software, and they're adding them as they determine that they need to. But what we're going to focus on is the source water. Now, what we're going to need to do is we're going to add a profile. And what I'll call this, I'll probably just call this Home Water. And it's going to be a source. And I'm going to jump over to the PDF that is sent to me by Ward Laboratories. And it may have changed a little bit since I got this done, but this is the report that I got back from them whenever I sent my water. And the nice thing about their water reports, I mean, you pay, I think it's like $42 currently, and it was a little bit cheaper when I got it done, but you pay $42, they send you a bottle, you capture your tap water, you send it back to them in a prepaid mailer, and then whenever they analyze it, they send you a PDF, and this is what it looks like. So it is the beer report in their system that they have. They offer a lot of different reports. I suggest the beer report because it gives you just what you need and nothing else. And so what we're going to take a look at is the report. So let's take a look at what Brewfather is asking us for first. So Brewfather is asking us for the pH first. So let's jump back over here to the water report. And the pH that they measured was 7.4. So we'll go ahead and enter 7.4 in there. Now the next thing that they're going to ask for is calcium. So let's jump back over there. And we can see here that the calcium is 34. So we'll jump back over to Brewfather and enter 34. And then you can tab in these screens, by the way, just in case you're wondering how you're not seeing my mouse move. Magnesium is 8. All right, so we're going to go ahead and enter 8 there. And let's do sodium. Right off of the report, and the report is named basically exactly the same figures or terminology that the Brewfather system is, so it makes it very easy and intuitive. So we're going to put 16 in there. And for chloride, we've got chloride down here, and that is sitting at 30. So we'll put 30 in there. And then for the sulfate, let's find that. It's right up above. That's the SO4. And that is 16, so we'll go ahead and put that in there. And then bicarbonate, which is 56. All right. So now we've got our water report entered. It gives us the chloride to sulfate ratio. It gives us the hardness of the water, the alkalinity of the water, and the residual alkalinity. Now, what I would suggest you probably do is go ahead and hit this star so that you save it as a default source, so that every time you go to make a recipe, it will be the default water source that you use. Now let's take a look at how to use this. So if we're going to create a recipe, or let's just take a look at one of the recipes that I have already created, and we'll input the water. My Not Corona, it's actually shared out on the Brewfather app, so if you are interested in brewing it, it actually is a really good beer. People that have brewed it said it turned out really well. So let's go all the way down to the bottom here, and I'm going to have a little tip for you as far as recipe creation towards the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. All right, so we'll go down here to water, and we're actually going to click the calc button. Oop. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to change the source. So let's change the source, and we're going to pick the home water source that we just had, and we'll see what we've got there for all of our ions. Now the profile that I'm using for this is American Lager. Now one of the problems that we see right away, and the reason why I'm showing you this, is that we've got more calcium than we need, more magnesium than we need. Pretty much every figure is just about off of the chart. So what do you do in that case? Well, what you can do, and what I would probably recommend that you do, and you can either do all distilled or RO water, which can be kind of expensive depending on, you know, how your source is for that. But what you can do is you can actually dilute your water with distilled water. So what you can do in order to do that, and now let me get out of here. What you can do with that, I'll show you the water here. Now I've got the home water source, and then I've got a diluted by 50%. You can see that basically our ions are going to be half of what they were before. Another thing to be aware of on the dilution is you want to make sure that you average out your pH. So if you have a pH of like 7.4 like mine, the distilled water is going to be 7.0. So the average between those two is about 7.2. And you want to make sure that if you're doing water adjustments, that you have a good pH meter. I've got a great one that I'll list down below. Really, it's fairly inexpensive and it does a great job. So I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. So let's go back over to the recipe and scroll down to our water. We'll hit the calc button again. And then let's scroll down to the water. And I'm going to change this, and I'm going to select the diluted by 50%. Now I'll go ahead and save it. Now you can see we are still a little bit out on some of the figures, but we're much closer to what we need in order to brew that beer. I want to take a second to thank my Patreons. They really do help me keep making these videos. I certainly do appreciate the support of all these folks here. So thank you very much. So let's take a look at like a double IPA that we're going to be doing, and let's see what the target profile would be for that. So if I scroll down to water, I'm going to hit my calc button again, and then I'm actually going to change it from distilled water to that home water source. Hit save. Let's see, we'll change this to, let's see, well, let's just change it over to hoppy and save that. Now what we'll do is we'll actually go down here, and there's a button down here that you can click where it will say, where it says auto. And so I'm going to go ahead and click the auto button. And as you can see down here, it has recommended additions to go into the mash. Not only that, it also will calculate your sparge additions. Now the one thing it does not do, it does not calculate the acidity. It doesn't calculate any kind of acid being added. So you will have to add that. In the case of this beer, I actually added 5 milliliters, and you can see by the pH up here that it was 5.37. But if I zero that out, you can see it jumps up to 5.54. So that's a figure you might have to play with a little bit and see what happens as far as, you know, watch your water pH and see how it goes whenever you add a little bit. You can just add a little bit at a time to get your water pH down to where you need it at. Leave me a comment down below if you're currently changing your water or adjusting your water. What are you doing, and what chemicals are you using for changing your water? Now, one of the first things with Brewfather that you need is an equipment profile. I did a video on that, and you can just click or tap the screen right here for that video. And David Heath actually has done a great video on recipe creation, and you can click or tap the screen right here for that video. This has been Brian for Short Circuited Brewers. We'll see you on the next video.